Seen him on the TV show Better Call Saul. You may have seen him on the movie Red Ball. He's here for you tonight. The very funny Ernest Tsosie.
Make sure my timer's set, otherwise I'll never work in this town again. I need some room, man. I need some ceremony space here. Greetings from the stage to you. Give me a moment to greet my fellow Navajos out there. Diné. I'm gonna do some cold talking, alright? So just bear with me. Yá'át'ééh.
Yá'át'ééh.
Ernest Tsosie nishya. To hanin nishle do torchini pashiching. Tabahai dashi che do touching dashi nale. In English that means hi. What other nations are here? Ojibwe. I'm always fascinated with tribal names because some of them make really awesome adjectives. You know, my favorite one is Jim's tribe, Ojibwe. I like that because it sounds romantic. Yeah, you got kind of whisper though, Ojibwe. It rhymes with lingerie. Sack and Fox, that's another one, you know, she's Sack and Fox. Some tribal names sound tough, you know. Apache, any Apache here? Apache? None? Alright, let's talk about them. So Apaches, man, those guys sound tough, you know. Good name for a tough sounding name. Hey, did you go to the fights last night? I sure did. How was it? Apache. I was Apache. I live in Arizona. Yeah, thank you, man. You're from Arizona? All right, man, right on. The Grand Canyon State, right? That's what they call us. You know, and if you ever get a chance to hike down to the bottom, pass. Don't do it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance, you know. It takes one day to get down there, one lifetime to get back out. There's actually a tribe at the bottom of the Grand Canyon that had the supai. Yeah, translate that into English, it means tourists who never made it back out. I almost became one of them, man. One time my bro and I hiked down to the bottom with my friend, and yeah, you know, going down is easy. It's when you look back up, you're like, oh no, this was a mistake. Oh man, I barely made it back out of there, man. I crawled out of there like it was The Walking Dead, man, just crawling out of the Grand Canyon. I'm really happy to be here in Hanover. It's cool, man. This is probably the closest I'll ever get to being in a Hallmark movie. You know? It's cool, man. I woke up from a Hallmark movie, man. I sent a picture to my wife. Check this out, man. It's Hallmark. You know, I like Hallmark. I don't like Lifetime. You know, Lifetime is a lot of death in Lifetime movies. You know, yeah, man. My deadly girlfriend, my killer mom. And I haven't been to New York City, man, in a long time, probably over 10 years. And you got to be careful because you guys get a lot of tours. I imagine going through here. It's kind of the same as being on the reservation. You know, a lot of tourists go through the res, and it's cool. I like people coming out and checking us out. They're interested in Native America. I find that you know, cool that they're interested in us, especially the foreigners, man. They come out, you know, and I can see them, man. They're trying to hide from us, man, but they're, you know, they drive through the res like they're going through a drive-through zoo, though. You know what I mean? They're in the RVs, you know, and they're like looking for the natives, you know. I like their questions, man. You know, they're like, "Hello, native." Yeah. It's a native. My husband's like, "They're huge. Shall we feed it?" But it was coming out silly questions, though. You know, I like to engage. You know, I like to humor them, right? You know, they're like, "Hello, native. Do you still eat the buffalo?" I'm like, "Yeah, we still eat the buffalo, but just the wings, just the wings." Right? A little bit of ranch dressing. Hey. Do you still use the teepee? Toilet paper? Yes, toilet paper. Lots of toilet paper on the reservation, especially in council chambers. Lots of toilet paper. Do you still use sacred herbs and medicines? Yes, ibuprofen. That's one. Bro, res, man. But you gotta be careful because there is such thing as reverse tourism. So check this out. One time I was cruising down my res and I saw this family of tourists. They were filming something so intently, you know, all right side of the highway, man. You know, I was like, what the heck's going on? The whole family, you know, the father's in the head, he's leading the back, just filming, you know. Got his wife, kids back there, all looking. As I'm driving by, I said, what the heck are they filming? He's filming a prairie dog. Right? I was like, shut the, you stupid idiots. That's a reservation rat, man. You know, go film, Monument Valley or something. Something awesome. You gotta be careful, man, because, 2 months later, I'm in New York City filming a pigeon. It's a pigeon, man. New Yorkers like, you idiot, that's a rat with wings. Film Empire State Building or something, Reverse tourism. One of the first times I went to a big city in the res, I was got called out to Washington, D.C. This was second year when the Museum of the American Indian came out. It was built there. They called me and a comedy partner of mine to ask us if we could come and do some comedy at the Kennedy Center. I was like, man, that's a world famous venue, man. I was like, shoot, I can. So they're, okay, cool, we'll pick you up. We'll send a car to pick you up. So next day, we're waiting out there, D.C., monuments, Capitol building. Big old black limousine pulls up right in front of us, hotel. Dude, check it out, man, there's probably a senator in there. A congressman. Nobody gets out, except the driver gets out. It's right at us, man. He like nods at us. We're like, us? Yeah, you James Murray? Yeah, I'm here to pick you up. Holy cow! I'm up for the res, man. I never limousines. I see the Oscars. That's it, I was like, dang, man. Went to grab the door. Hello, I got it. Comes all the way around. Opens the door for us like we're big movie stars. Like, shoot, I got in that limousine, man. It's like getting into a sweat lodge, man. Really low. Man, long sweat lodge, man. Scurried down to the other side like a prairie dog. Man, big time. Getting out, that's the hard part, is getting out, man. I had to go back the same way I came in, man. If I was being born, I'd be breech, you know what I mean? My partner, he was smart. He went to the sky roof. C-section guy was. So this is called Ernie's Bag of Good Medicine. For you guys, I know you miss raffle tickets and stuff like that. Maybe you too. Real res Indians. Sometimes I get bored with my own comedy. So I'm just as excited as you are, okay? I got bits on here. Mom's discipline. The white moms. Any white moms in here? I'm sure there are some out there. The best discipline I ever saw was from a young white mom. I'm in the airports a lot and I see these families, people, and one white mom or the little boys are messing around, She just started counting. That's how white moms do it. They start counting. 1, 2. Before she got to 3, man, those 2 white boys were like, yes, ma'am. I saw that. I said, dang, that's cool, man. I'm gonna try it out on my res kids. Does not work on res kids. I tried it, man, right? I was like, 56, 57, 58. Almost to a minute, man. They're not even listening to me. In fact, my kids are looking at me like, stupid, why are you counting? We're playing hide and seek. Okay. I was like, all right, that's it, man. That's no more PlayStation for you guys, man. Right there, they're like, yes, sir. Indians, man, you gotta take something away from them. But I reminded the first time, man, I was growing up in high school, went to Winter High School. This was back in the 80s, right? But I was a stoner, man. I was a pothead. I smoked so much weed back in the 80s, I still have the munchies today. That's how bad it is. That's why they call it 420, man. That's how much you're gonna weigh if you don't watch out. But my mom, man, she blessed me and my little cousin were getting stoned and after school, right? And she's not supposed to be home for another 3 hours. She came home early. I had a little 2-story house and my room was in the garage, So being a rebellious teenager, getting stoned and I guess my mom came home while we were down there. So she went out to investigate, she has to go out and come down and man, right when we were coming out of my room, man, we were stoned, man, right? We're like, yeah. That slits, red slits for eyes, I saw my mom coming right there, man. My high turned to a low real fast. She took one look at us, man. She was just disgusted. Mom, she just looked at us like, look at you two. Look at your eyes. They're scattered to the 4 directions. Yeah, and in that moment, my eyes tried to look at all 4 directions at the same time. She almost glitched that, man. Starbucks menu. I like Starbucks, man. By the way, the Navajo people, we are the Starbucks of Native America. Yeah, just like Starbucks, there's one on every corner. That's us Navajos, man. We have a talent. We get around, man. We have a talent. We're like prairie dogs. We'll go into our hole. We'll pop up in a different reservation, man. You know what I mean? I like Starbucks. I'm a coffee connoisseur of sorts. But the Starbucks menu is too confusing, man, for my res mind. Italian, macchiato, schmacchiato, hocus pocus mocus, whatever, you know what I mean? I want to start my own coffee company and call it Res Bucks. I'll have a menu that natives can relate to, native-friendly menu. Walk in there with full confidence, man. Hey, I'll take a Yá'át'ééh latte. Take a fried bread frappuccino. And icky hickey passion tea. Thank you much. What sizes? They're all chubbies. Make them all chubbies, man. This is my Starbucks. Starbucks should make the rhyming menu, man. You know what I mean? Elon Musk. 40 seconds to get this. That's nothing bad, man. You know, I've been thinking about. Well, I read this thing about Elon. When his son was born, he named him some weird name, man. You know, it wasn't like a traditional American name like John or Steve. It was like a serial number. X-A- something, man. I was like, that's billionaire thinking right there, man. There's no way I could do that. You know, I got like $200 on my account, man. It'd be like, if I name one of my kids that, I'd be like, hey, WD-40, come here, man, come here. P90X, get over here. You know? That's millionaire thinking, man. You know? And that guy, man, he's the one that sent the Tesla up into space, you know. He was just fulfilling the childhood fantasy. That's what that was, you know. That's what rich people can do, you know what I mean? We love doing comedy and getting out there. And we're gonna keep on traveling to whatever we go, wherever res we go, wherever community we go, we're gonna do it to it. And we're just gonna keep on trucking, man. So keep your joy, that's my message to you. And hey, you guys, make it back home, man. Don't stay over here. Thank you, appreciate you guys.
I know, there's always Navajos at Dartmouth. It's like you got like a ready, steady train of Navajos, like, backed up, ready to tap in. All right, I'm done. Somebody else take this. So I grew up in Wisconsin. I'm Ojibwe, and like in my high school, it was like a Catholic all-boys school. It was mostly white students. I was one of two natives. The other guy, Josh, he was also Ojibwe, but his last name was Begay. And I didn't know anything about it. I was like, I don't know. And then went to college, and there's all sorts of tribes. So I went to Stanford, and like 50 different tribes, right? And a lot of Navajos there too. And I was kidding. I didn't know. I hung out with Hopis too much, I guess. That's the word. Oh. Okay. But then I found out that was like a very common Navajo name. I was like, oh, now it all makes sense why he's called Begay. Next time I saw him, I was like, so you're Begay? He's like, yeah, but I'm not Navajo. I'm like, what? I still have no idea what the hell's wrong with what happened there. I don't know. I just assumed he was a Haskell baby. For those of you who don't know, there is a university in this land that's just for natives, and it's natives from all tribes. And I think it's the worst idea I've ever heard. I don't know how anyone could get any studying done with just a bunch of natives hanging out. Should we study or have fun? Let's have more fun. And it's great because you get the best like tribal mixed kids I've ever heard coming out of there. It's like, what tribe are you? Oh, I'm Blackfoot and Choctaw. Like, geographically. Haskell baby. That's what that is. When you meet one of us and you ask us those three questions that he was mentioning. One of them is always, what tribe are you? And then you get somebody mentioning two tribes that are just geographically not connected at all. That's a Haskell baby. So, are you Haskell baby? Said, yes, I'm Haskell baby. I never met my father, but he was a poli-sci major. From what I hear. Anybody get into this school without studying? You just like crammed last minute? Like, I'm lazy, but I still have good grades. I don't know what that was. I know some of you are out there. You can't turn in a paper unless it's like fresh from the printer, like warm. Like, here you go. Do you even print stuff out anymore, or you just like digitally? Oh yeah, so I like sitting on the couch and eating Doritos. I think that's my typecasting in Hollywood. Middle-aged guy that likes sitting on the couch eating Doritos. And you may think I'm lazy, but I'm not, actually. Growing up, my mom was a workaholic, and I'm trying to break the cycle of workaholism. I think a lot of us have addiction in our families, and you have to do what you gotta do. She's Ojibwe. She grew up on the res. My res is actually in Michigan, it's not in Wisconsin. But the story is, because I'm a half-breed myself, I don't know if there's any other half-breeds. Any full-bloods here? Any superstars? That was a big thing when I was growing up, your blood quantum. Like, that was like, being a half-breed was not a positive thing. That was not a good thing. A lot of full-bloods would blame their problems on us. I was like, hey, it's your fault we're existing. What are you blaming us for? You're the ones messing around. And besides, I think we all know whose fault it really is. It's the quarter bloods messing everything up. Is there any quarter bloods here? I know non-natives are probably appalled, like, oh my God, do they really talk like this? Yes, we really talk like this. This is like a big deal. Like, you meet somebody at a bar or wherever, you gotta find out how much blood quantum they have. So you can do some fractions and figure out what your kids are gonna be. Like, I'm half, how much are you, 3/4? Oh, let me get a napkin, I haven't done fractions. What's the common denominator? It comes out to 5/8. I'm sorry, we can't even talk. That's a good one. Can't have my kids run around saying that. Hi, I'm 5/8 Indian. What the hell happened there? Must have been a threesome or something. That's a weird ass. I've never actually heard someone with a weird blood quantum like that. Maybe people just round up or round down. Keep it simple, but just bad at fractions. Are people bad at fractions? I don't know. Just everything's. Anyway, so she was told by her aunties who were raising her at the time that she could not marry an Indian man because there were no good drunks and abusive, and that she was going to be abused. And she said they made her break up with him, and so she did. And she ended up hooking up with my dad to break the cycle. An Irish Catholic from Milwaukee to break the cycle of alcoholism. But Mom, I don't know if anyone mentioned, not to stereotype Irish Catholics from Milwaukee, but they drink a shit ton. That's why, like, when I grew up in Milwaukee, and then I went to college and went to Native functions, there were like sobriety events. I was like, what is this? I mean, don't get me wrong, we had a sobriety powwow in Milwaukee called Indian Summer, but it was sponsored by Miller Brewery, and they served beer there. But you couldn't bring in the dance arena. They had a security there. No, you're gonna have to chug that. Okay, come on, dude. I'm not even making that up. And when I was born, apparently, I had blonde hair. If you could imagine that, a blonde baby emerging from a full-blooded Indian woman. I think that freaked the doctor out. Holy crap, it's not done yet. Put it back in, it's gotta gestate a little more. And nurse saying to me, no, it's okay, this is good luck. He's like the white buffalo to these people. Sacred. Touch him for good luck. Put more dents in his head. You've heard of us, right? Some of the non-natives, I hope. Or Chippewa, that's the popular way to mispronounce it. Anyway, but like back home, like the French explorers came through and then they asked us what the names were of all the other tribes around us. They shouldn't have done that. We might have been at war with some of them and we didn't have the nicest things to say about them. Like, oh, those are the snakes in the grass. Those are the people with stinky water. Or as you know them as the Sioux and the Winnebagos. And it's still, like, if you look up, it's still like in the government record. They're the Winnebagos and the Sioux. That's what they told us. So we'll leave it like that. The Great Sioux Nation. I had a Lakota friend in college, and she was like, someone who called her Sioux, and she's like, no, you can't call us that. That's what the French called us. She looked at me and was like, I know, that's what we told them. I'm sorry, here you go, have some gum. Dog breath. Dog breath, that's what I said there. I said dog breath. Because they eat dogs. And we tease them about it. And then they get mad. Actually, she was ready for it. She wasn't even phased. She's like, okay, whatever, rabbit choker. the hell's that about? I'd never heard that term before. Next time I was home, I asked my mom about that. I said, Mom, is that true? Are we rabbit chokers? She said, yeah. What you do is you put the snare out there, you wait till the rabbit gets on it, and you yank it, you choke it, you kill him. Holy crap, I got scared of my mom at that. Like, oh, you're a killer. She's like a warrior. I was all proud now. I'm proud of my Ojibwe-ness. I went right down to the mall to the pet store, went right up to those rabbits. There you go. They're choking the heck out of it. Kids around me all crying, what are you doing? It's okay, I'm Ojibwe. This is part of it. Don't worry, I'm going to eat the whole thing. You can have the feet for good luck, you know. You're the creepy ones wearing the feet. You don't see Native Americans doing that, wearing animal body parts. We love doing that. But we're one with nature. That's why we like to wear it so much. But yeah, I was like going after the rabbits, and then these kids are like, whatever, and they walked away. Because there was a Lakota guy stabbing the puppies, trying to show me up. Think you're all bad, Ojibwe? I'm like, oh yeah. And they're going everywhere. We look at each other, we just start laughing. It's for a competition to see who can kill the most cute, cuddly animals. That's how brave we are. Yeah, anyway. The other thing we're known for, the actually only thing we're known for, is dream catchers. What was that? Did you just con out? Did you feel attacked? What happened there? I have one for my rearview mirror. I bought it from a very nice Girl Scout, okay? You gotta understand. It's okay. Things can get confusing around these traditions. I myself, I'm thinking of moving to Hong Kong to do beadwork. Just like made in China by a real Indian. I just want to confuse people. That's my whole. But it is weird to see like how they became popular like among everybody, and I don't know who messed that up. But it's cat's out of the bag. What are you gonna do? Try to explain to people. There's too many people to explain these things to. Not enough Ojibwes. We're not Starbucks. But people hang it from the rearview mirror. What a dream catcher really does, we put it over our kid's bed. And it keeps out the bad spirits, the bad dreams at night, lets the good dreams go through. That's what we do. So I guess you hang it from your rearview mirror. In case you fall asleep behind the wheel, you don't want to have an accident and then, you know, wake up to a nightmare. Oh, an accident. All right, Mark, we're going there. So I'll be announcing after the show. If you guys want a dream catcher, I made them myself. And I ran out of feathers, but I had a lot of condoms around. So they're going to be wet dream catchers, a little fun twist on them. And they're genuine buckskin condoms. Don't worry, fellas, you won't feel a thing. The buckskin's real thick. Last as long as she needs you to. And, she'll be happy because they're fully beaded for her pleasure. He's size 11, so it's the good size, right, ladies? You know. Where's my powwow people? You know you're. This is smaller than these. So like 10. I actually did try to sell those, Mark. Mark remembers. I'm like, oh God. Actually, I am selling these medallions. They're actually handmade. I handmade them on my 3D printer. And, you know, I figured, because you guys are in Dartmouth's pretty intense school, pretty stressful. Are you guys quarter system? Yeah, that's freaking stressful. You're like, I sneezed, I'm 2 weeks behind. I don't know what happened. But it says, you're doing great. So you can look at that and be like, oh. And I know some of you are like hardcore, you're like, I don't want to hear your positivity crap, buddy. I'm not about that. So I made one for you guys too. It says, get it together, you idiot. And to be honest, I'm a little concerned that I'm going to sell more of these. Because I know this is the one I would buy. So enjoy your medallion and daddy issues. So I have a kid, she's 16, she's She's actually starting to look at college. I don't know how the hell that happened so fast. I could swear I was just, gonna be a dad, and I was telling my friends in World of Warcraft, and they didn't believe me. It's like, Jim, you're always playing World of Warcraft. How did you even meet somebody, much less copulate? Well, it was a Tuesday, which is, as you know, the server goes down on Tuesdays, so you gotta find something to do. Well, they didn't believe me. It's like, was it an accident? No. Logically, think about it. Babies, the act of making a baby cannot be an accident. It takes too long. There's too much repetitive motion to be an accident. You can't accidentally churn butter. Oh no, look what I did here. I did not mean to make all this butter. I should have stopped 10 minutes ago. I'm so clumsy. Oops, what an awkward accident. Her mother is Mexican-American. I get more woos in California, but that's one. I figured that was close enough. As soon as she got pregnant, this is how I realized there might be a little cultural gap here. As soon as she got pregnant, she got in my face. She said, our baby's going to be bilingual, right? I said, okay, fine, she can learn my tribal language. I'm okay with that. She's like, oh, that's right, you guys have languages too. Nothing wrong with Spanish. It's an important European language. I get it. She didn't like to hear that. But she was very cool about it. She actually went and looked up an Ojibwe language program, ordered it for me as a surprise, and I came from work one day, and she was all very solemn. I got this for you. And it was a birch bark basket with some language stuff, like refrigerator magnets and dictionary. She said, our baby's gonna be trilingual. Oh crap, now I gotta learn my language? I was just talking shit, baby. I wasn't even actually trying to we got a baby on the way. I play World of Warcraft. I really don't have time to learn my language now. I can name some animals and stuff. I can upgrade my Google password, and Google's like, whoa, that's a strong one. I'm like, because you don't know Ojibwe, do you, Google? It just means eagle. But you don't know that. You guys do, so I have to change my password. Make it see. Try that Google Translate. So yeah, but Ojibwe is considered one of the 3 hardest languages in the world to learn. My sister told me that. She studied the language, she teaches it. And it is not easy language. I've taken some classes, but this is how you say goodbye in Ojibwe. Gigawa bamin minawa. And I hate long goodbyes. I got stuff to do. I know that was a bad joke. It's okay. We're not allowed. I was not expecting an applause break on that one. It's some jokes I just like to be annoying with. For the love of God. But it sounds like something Jabba the Hutt would say, right? Gigawa bamin minawa ho ho ho. Solo. The Honorable Jabba says goodbye. So I moved to LA about 20 years ago, to get involved in Hollywood and stuff, get into acting. And I always thought it was cool, they would show clips of famous actors when they first moved to Hollywood, they would do commercials. I was like, oh, they're doing the commercial. So I figured that's, as you start out, that's what you're gonna do. I was like, what commercials could I do? Oh, like a shampoo commercial. You never see Native Americans in shampoo commercials, yet we have nice long hair. I think that would be great, right? If you have a dry, flaky scalp, just throw it away. Why would you hold on to that? That's a little creepy. But when I first moved there, they were starting to make the Harry Potter movies. I don't know if you guys have, it's an old book series. I don't know if you heard of it. They made the movies and it's written by a crazy lady. Anyway, they were going to make, I was a big fan of the books because book number 6 really touched me. It was called Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Half-blood, half-breed, exactly. So I wanted to go audition for it until I found out who the director was going to be. Does anybody know who directed the first Harry Potter movie? That's right, Chris Columbus. I did not want to be discovered by Chris Columbus. Hey, we found this new Native American actor discovered by Chris Columbus. Hey, Jim, I heard Columbus found you. Shut up. All right, I really should have ended there. But that would leave you guys feeling good about things. Let me tell you this joke. This is actually a bit of wisdom I want to leave you guys with. It's something my grandmother used to tell us when we were young. Little Ojibwe wisdom for you. She said, before the white man came, he made a funny face. And then he came. And we had no idea what she was talking about. When you're young, wisdom, you just gotta wait till you're older, maybe it makes sense in a time and place. Anyway, they called her Spread Eagle. Her Indian name or stripper name, we're not sure. Hey, thank you guys very much. Big witch.
I write for Thomas and Friends, a train show. Hooray! I play the veterinarian on the Great North, and I just go like, your dog's sick, and then that's it, and they give me money. I'm Monique, I'm adopted, and so I didn't grow up in the Native American world, but I'm Cree and Saulteaux, which, like Cree/Saulteaux. And my mom's from India, so I'm an Indian. It's very confusing. And I think I'm like the only one out there, the only Indian in the world. I know how to make fry bread and chapati and naan. But my parents, they saw my tribal names growing up, and those Saulteaux, Salteaux. I'm surprised I didn't pronounce the X at the end. So I thought my tribe was Saulteaux my whole life. And then I did a show with another Saulteaux woman, and she was like, what did you just call yourself? Saulteaux? No, that's our French pronunciation. It's Saulteaux. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like 30 years old and I don't know how to pronounce my own tribe. That's like if you're white and your native parents were like, oh, we think you're Yá'át'ééh. And then you meet another white person, they're like, what? Okay. So Mark did a land acknowledgement. Sort of, but kind of half land acknowledgement. Yeah. And in LA, that's like a big thing. Everywhere I go, there's a land acknowledgement. It doesn't matter what we're doing. And I was trying to find a new therapist, and the therapist, we were on Zoom, and she was like, before we start, I want to acknowledge that we're on Tongva land. And I was like, please stop. Don't do this. Did you Google me before? Did you find out that I'm Native? Because I was like, this is a white woman, and she should not be doing this. And I was like, please stop. I do not want to know that I'm mentally ill on Tongva land. No. Just don't do that anymore. So I was thinking the other day about how I was talking to my niece, and she was like, let's sit crisscross applesauce. And I was like, oh, like cross-legged. And then I was thinking, oh yeah, back in my day we called that Indian style. And now it's crisscross applesauce. And I was like, I think that we shouldn't have rebranded it as crisscross applesauce. I think it should still be like maybe Native American style instead of Indian style, because our people hell us out like that. Have you seen paintings of us? We're sitting like that. We're sitting crisscross applesauce. Like, can we not have anything? You have to take everything from us, including how we sit. Like, I sit like that so much that I wake up and my legs are like that. Like, I was sitting Indian style in my sleep. Okay, I was at an event, and there's these two bartenders, and they're both Latino, and I ordered a drink from one of them. I was like, can I have this particular beer? And he was like, yeah. And then he went away, and then the other one came, and he was like, what can I get you? And I was like, oh, I'll have a beer I just ordered from you. And he was like, that was the other guy. And then he took a moment, and he was like, racist much? And I was like, what? No, I'm not racist. I'm face blind. I'm medically racist. I can't tell anyone apart. Just look. I moved to LA to pursue. I wanted to be a writer. Hooray! And I am, which is great. And I moved during the recession, so I ended up picking up stand-up comedy because it was like the cheapest thing I could do. It doesn't cost any money to do it. And it's interesting being in showbiz because I never knew that life growing up. And it's weird that there are people who I'll like go to these writer panels where somebody's talking about being a writer and how they became a writer. And so people will be like, I moved to LA by myself at age 22, and now look at me. I am the head of my own company, and I developed all these movies, and I was like in charge of Batman and like Marvel and all this stuff. They're like, I did it all myself. No one helped me. Matt Damon is my childhood best friend. But that has nothing to do with it. I think that had everything to do with it. When you do certain events in LA, there's a lot of native events where it's just comedy shows and like showcases for no reason. They never amount to anything, but you do get swag. You do get some pretty sweet swag. Like I was on a writer's panel and they were like, it was all women, and then they gave us swag after, and there were fanny packs that said future screenwriter on it. And we were all screenwriters. I was like, you guys really don't believe women can be professionals. But me and Jim were at a show at Flappers. It's a local club in LA. And it was all natives. And they're at the end of the night, they were like, oh, we got the sickest swag for you guys. It's so amazing. We were all natives on the show. And they came out and they gave us blankets. And we were like, we don't want those. You're trying to give Native Americans blankets? What, do they have smallpox on them or something? Okay. So I took all of them. I don't think anyone else took them. I was like, my dog likes blankets. I'm on the autism spectrum. That's why I have a service animal. He just like kind of nudges me when I'm like overwhelmed, and I taught him that. And it's so cute. That's the reason I was like, wouldn't it be cute if he had a little job? And I'm on the autism spectrum, and it's really interesting because when there's a lot of stereotypes about autism, I hear this one a lot, that autistic people don't like sex, which is weird. Like, if we don't like sex, then how do you explain Silicon Valley? And I happen to love sex, and I think it's because I like the repetition. Like, same thing over and over. It's pretty appealing, actually. People just assume that if you're autistic, you work in tech in California. Like, I'll be at a group of people, and if someone finds out that I'm autistic, they'll be like, hey, what do you do for work? What do you do for work? And then to me, they'll be like, do you work in tech? And I'm like, that's so unfair. I don't work in tech. I don't know that much about computers, but like not every autistic person works in tech, but a lot of people working in tech are autistic. And I know this because there are 15 train emojis. Have you guys seen that? Why? The only explanation is that autistic people made the emojis. I just imagine the little like group of people who came up with the emojis were like, okay, we have the faces, and that'll help people figure out what they're saying in the text. So if they have an angry face, you could be like, oh, that's scary. You're angry at me. But what about us? How do we figure out, as autistic people, what the other person's feeling? And they're like, oh, I know. If they're angry, you can do a Japanese high-speed rail bullet train. And so, or if somebody sends me a text and they're like, I got married and it's a steam engine, I'm like, congrats. Oh, I'm glad it wasn't trolley, because that would mean that you did it under duress, but you like this marriage, hooray. So that's the big thing that I get asked a lot is like, do you like trains? And like they're like, do you like sex? Do you like trains? Why are people asking me these things? And the thing is that like I fucking love trains so much. Part of the reason I write for Thomas and Friends is because during the pandemic, I missed Amtrak so much that I was like, tweeting about it. I'm just like photoshopping myself on Amtrak, like this could be me right now, but the pandemic's happening. And I love trains so much that number one, I'm disappointed there's no train that comes here. What is that?
There's one in White River.
Oh, well, from where I was coming from, which is California. That would be such a long trip. Oh my God, it would be amazing. It would be heaven. I love trains so much that when I was in college, I dated this train conductor. And I met him at a Halloween party where he was wearing his work attire. And I went up to him and I was like, that is the sexiest costume I've ever seen. That is so hot. And he was like, oh, hey baby, I really am a train conductor. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And we dated for a while, but we didn't have a spark aside from a love of trains. And I also found out that he didn't love trains, he just worked there because his dad worked there. I was like, what the fuck? You don't even like them? Why do you work there? There's so many autistic people who would love your job. We broke up after a while. But I always thought that maybe, like when we were making out, he'd be like, hey babe, you want to take this to my train? And then he never did it. He never took me to his train, which the logic isn't there. At the time I was like, clearly you have full access to trains at all time, but that's not true. But we broke up, and I always think it must be so lonely to be a train conductor, never knowing if a woman loves you for you. Or if it's just an autistic woman who loves you for your train. So, I don't know. Autistic people have special interests, and recently my special interest was Mount Everest for some reason. Like, I just couldn't get enough of reading about it. And I had my Google alert set up for a year or two about Everest. And I found out that for about 20 years, no vegan had ever made it to the top without dying. And like every 2 years, someone would be like, I'm gonna be the vegan who made it. And then they would die. And finally someone made it to the top and he was vegan. And he had like 14 Sherpas with him. And I was like, that is not vegan. I don't think making an animal like a human, I feel like we're animals. I don't think like making animals suffer is vegan. Like you need 13 of them? Oh man. How much rice and beans did you bring up there? But yeah, I was thinking about Everest, and I found out that, do you guys know what a Sherpa is?
Yes.
Okay, but I feel like some of you are thinking it's just a mountain guide, right? But it's an indigenous people that lives around the mountains. That's what a Sherpa is. It's like the people, it's an ethnic group, and I had no idea that until I started reading about Everest. And I've noticed that there are a lot of marketing where it would say something like, we're the Sherpa of the sky, or something like that, like United, we're the Sherpa of the sky. And I'm like, why? I think they think they're mountain guides. It's like saying like, we're the Filipinos of the sky. We're the Cree of the sky. Like you guys, that's kind of racist. But yeah, I get a lot of notifications from a local coffee brand, and they're always like, we're the Sherpas delivering coffee to you. Like, okay. You should say, like, we're the Mexicans delivering coffee. Yeah, don't do that. I shouldn't be surprised that people at Dartmouth know what a Sherpa is, but I am surprised. So anyways, I found out that Everest is named after a guy, like a dude, Sir Everest. He was the white man who discovered it. Meanwhile, the Sherpas had seen it for like 1,000 years or more. He was like, man, big mountain, that's mine. That's my mountain, it's Everest. And I was like, I thought it was named after how big it is. Like, most mountains go on forever, but this one goes on the Foreverest. Doesn't that sound like it? It's like I live in Atwater Village in Los Angeles. It's named after a dude too. It's right by the river. What the? I grew up with I grew up on a street where there were like a lot of boys, and they're all my age. So I didn't have girlfriends growing up. And I noticed that, like, we started off and we would all have, like, Ferrari posters in our room from the Scholastic book fair, right? And then as we grew older, they started putting, like, hot girls on their walls, which at my time was like, oh God, I'm not even gonna say, because you guys are gonna be like, you're a old ass bitch. Like, who are you talking about? Tia Carrere? Does anyone know who that is? Oh my God, she's so hot. Wayne's World, hell yeah. So they would have these hot women on their walls, and I was like, oh, that's cool, but I'm not really into hot women. So I would just like put trains and more cars and stuff. And I noticed that they all started putting like the hottest woman above their bed. And like now as an adult, I'm like, clearly they're jerking off to that woman, right? That's why it's above their bed. But I went home and I put the Independence Day movie poster over my bed. And now I can't orgasm unless I see the White House explode. And when my husband comes, I punch him in the face and say, welcome to Earth. So that's why we're getting divorced. I was considering divorce for a while. My husband and I are still together, but he's going to grad school. He's becoming a therapist, which is so cool. You're the psych major, right? Are you thinking of becoming a therapist?
Essentially.
Yeah. That's cool, having like an undergrad in psych. That's what you want from a therapist. In LA, everyone has like a film undergrad, and then they went to some like weird school to become a therapist in a year, and you're like trying to tell them things, and then whenever you bring up you have an audition, they're like, oh, where? Who's that with? Who's your agent? Oh, cool. Then you see them on TV like 3 weeks later, or 3 months later. How long does Hollywood take? I don't even know anymore. So he's becoming a therapist, and the reason I wanted to maybe divorce him is because I was like, you've never asked me genuinely how I am in our entire marriage. He'll just be like, how are you? I had a great day. He won't ask me. I'm like, you're not gonna be a good therapist. But he's becoming a marriage and family therapist, and it's an MFT. Do you guys have MFT therapists? Anyone here? Okay, good. Okay. Is anyone here an MFT therapist? Okay, I'm gonna talk some shit. When I heard what MFTs are and how fast you can become one, I was like, I didn't know what it stood for. I was like, does that stand for moron fucking therapist? Because every time I met with one, they didn't know what anything was. I was like, first I want to say I'm autistic. And they would always be like, oh, you are? But you're married. Like, autistic people can get married. What do you think we do? Just like artificially inseminate each other or something like that? We can get married. Yeah, so they're dumb. Get a licensed clinical social worker or PsyD. I'm not a therapist. I don't know why I'm like marketing a different type of therapy. All right, so did anyone have to kiss any of your relatives on the mouth growing up? Like they would, not in a like bad way. Like your family would come over and they would just like be like hi and then kiss you on the mouth. My family did that, and it's rare that I meet someone who's like, yeah, and they're usually Italian. People, yeah, that's normal. And my grandma would come over and she would kiss me on the mouth, and every time she did it, I would go like this. And my mom saw it, and she took me aside, and she was like, next time your grandma comes over and she kisses you on the mouth, you're gonna pretend to like it. And so the next time she came over, she kissed me on the mouth, and I went, Grandma, you kiss so good. And she was weirded out, and then she never did it again. So that's how you handle that situation. All right, I think that's it for me. Thank you so much. Yay.
And I'm going to bring up our co-stars again one more time for Ernest, Tsosie. Keep it going for Jim, Ruel. the Great North, Monique Moreau.